and welcome back to another episode of Badminton Weekly. I'm Jasmine Lim, and today we're going to be recapping the Yonex Swiss Open 2023 before we preview the Spain Masters 2023 in Madrid. And as always, we have an expert from our panel joining us, and today I'm thrilled to welcome Derek Wong, a former Singapore player and a two-time Olympian, back to the studio today. Welcome, Derek.
Yeah, thanks for having me today.
It's really nice to have you back in the studio with us. So let's go ahead and jump right in with the Yonex Swiss Open, where let's talk about Chia and So. So Aaron Chia and So Week, they were seeded first, and unfortunately in the Swiss Open, they did continue their bad run, failing to actually get past the second round. Now, this marks the fourth time this year that the reigning world champions have failed to progress beyond the last 16. What do you think is perhaps causing their recent struggles?
I think from my perspective, right, is that after the World Championships, they sort of maybe are still basking in that glory. So they really need to take a step down and try to refocus and get back into the game again. Yeah.
And I think, what you said just now really echoed the sentiments of their coach. So Malaysia's doubles coaching director, Rexy Mainaky, has also been very critical of their form, and he said this recently when asked about the duo's rut. I don't know what was running through their minds, being the world champions and yet not being able to go beyond the second round in all three tournaments in Europe is embarrassing. He said that based on their ranking alone, they should at least be able to reach the finals, and really in the same words, they said maybe they're still basking in the glory of being the world champions. So in their mind, they still feel that they are the top of the world. So it's obviously a pretty harsh and very frank comment. But from a player's perspective, how difficult is it to ignore comments like that, especially from someone like your coach? And do you think that perhaps Rexy's comments are a wake-up call that Chia and So need to up their game?
I know Rexy. He's a very direct coach, and like you said, maybe it's a double-edged sword whereby it could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing. But for me, I think that this comment from him should be a positive thing for the two players, for them to really sort of get back their focus, get back their mindset to try and proceed further in the competitions. Maybe I don't expect them to be champions in those competitions, but at least sort of try to perform much better for each competition.
Hopefully that's the case. I think it was, like you said, a very frank comment, but I'm sure it's out of a place of good intentions as well. So let's see how Chia and So will do in the next few tournaments. But another Malaysian player that I do want to talk about is Lee Zizia. 24-year-old Lee Zizia, he has reached back-to-back semi-finals, and along the way he had to overcome some pretty challenging opponents too. For one, the All-England champion Li Shifeng and Li Chiahao, who actually defeated Lee Zizia in the Yonex German Open a couple of weeks back. Is this a sign that the Malaysian is regaining his old form?
Yeah, I do see that he's regaining his form, and given that it's a competition that he would really perform well in. If you look at 2021, where he was the All England champion. So yeah, I mean it's definitely going to be a good confidence booster for him to try and take this tournament and do better in the next few. Yeah, boost up his mindset, boost up his confidence.
Yeah, so it looks like things are looking up for Lee Zizia, but unfortunately in the semi-finals he did fall to Japanese Kaki Watanabe. What do you think went wrong for him in this particular match, or maybe was Watanabe just the better player of the day?
I would say certain players have certain forms in different competitions. So Kaki Watanabe, he's relatively, I would say, relatively new face in this top players. But given that yesterday he won the championship over Zhou Tiancheng, I think it's something that we should start watching and monitoring. I mean, he's winning top players like Lee Zizia and Zhou Tiancheng. So let's see. Lee Zizia would have a lot more opponents to be worried about. So yeah, it'd be interesting.
Yep. So obviously, Watanabe is a rising star, and we'll talk more about him later on. But another player who failed to get past the last four is, unfortunately, world number one, Victor Xlosen. Derek, the last time you were here, you said that you wanted to see more players challenging Xlosen, and recently he's definitely being challenged. He fell to Zhou Tiancheng this time round, a player who hasn't beaten him since December of 2019. Do you think that other players are catching up to Xlosen, you know, somebody who was once untouchable, and realizing that perhaps there is a way to defeat him?
Yes, I did mention about having more players to try and compete against Xlosen, and it's showing now in the competitions. So, yeah, I do feel that Xlosen is still performing pretty decently, just that other players are rising, and probably they also have that maybe video analysis of Xlosen, given that he's been on the camera, been on the stage so often, right? So players at the sidelines, they tend to be able to really watch his tactics, his movements and everything a lot more carefully, and then analyze how to sort of maneuver around that and get the shots down towards him. Yeah. So Xlosen, I would say he's a top player for a reason. You know, he's not world number one for out of luck or anything. He's definitely going to get back into his game and into his groove and start winning competitions again. I mean, getting the world number one, that kind of mental is something not everyone has that, you know. And Xlosen is really an exceptional player, and I believe he will definitely come back.
Yeah, I think many of us can agree that he's definitely somebody with both physical stamina as well as mental stamina as well. So we look forward to see how Xlosen continues to play in the next tournaments. Going back to Cho a little bit, you know, Cho fell short to Watanabe in the finals after a tough battle that went all the way to a decider. This would be Watanabe's first Super 300 title, something that the Japanese is understandably incredibly proud of. Let's hear from him and Cho as they both recap their showdown and their time throughout the week in Basel.
相手の方が格上の選手だったので、向かっていく気持ちで、勝ち負けよりも自分のプレーをしっかりやろうと思って頑張りました。タフな試合になると思っていたので、入る前から長い試合になるという気持ちで入って、あとは守りじゃなくて、自分から攻める気持ちでしっかりやれたのが良かったです。相手の試合とかもその次の対戦相手とかもしっかり見ながら、動画とかを YouTube で見ながら、ちょっと対策を少し考えながら毎回入ってました。
Of course, yes. Every day is pretty tough, and I try to push myself to the limit every match, and try to working hard to glory to God. So I just doing that, and of course he's playing really well, and I try to following up, and try to more speed, more focus, more spirit. But the result, not so happy, but I'm happy to be here to the finals and amazing crowd. So I love here and I enjoy this tournament. Yeah.
Moving on, Poonjoon Cho became the tournament's first Thai women's singles champion in 64 years after she beat Denmark's Mia Blichfeldt in straight games. This was after she went all the way against Indonesia's Gregoria Tanjung in the semis. What impressed you most about the game, especially knowing that the semifinals was rather a long one as well?
I think players like the Tiger and the Indonesians, they probably have had many dealings with each other, and they know each other's styles. That's why the game can go so long. Yeah, and they are also young players. So young players, when they go through these kind of hard matches, sometimes it's normal. It's normal. So even going to the finals, they're able to get back whatever stamina or whatever they need to still perform at the last stage. I know that Thai players, they are very agile, they are very hardworking players, and you give them a tough match, they are able to withstand that and still go an extra mile or two even after that long match. Those long matches.
Yeah, today really tired muscle and maybe a bit slow, but I have to control myself to play today. Yeah, I just focus on single shot and every shot I play and take every single shot like that. Yeah, I love Basel because last time I get to semi-final, not final, but I love it.
Let's now shift our attention to the Spain Masters, which is being held in Madrid for the first time in the tournament's history. Derek, how challenging do you think it is for players to prepare themselves to compete in a venue that they've never been to before?
Definitely there is a challenge in that, but if you think about it, every player is going to experience that same challenge. So it's still a level playing field in this scenario. Yeah, so I don't see anything that anyone that might stand out in this situation. Okay. So it's really who goes in there and prepares themselves well and get into their game as quickly as possible.
Yeah, who adjusts the quickest, into this new venue for sure. Now, the Indonesia contingent, they did brilliantly in the last edition of the tournament when it was last played in Huelva back in 2021. The Indonesians actually won all the disciplines except for the men's singles. This time round, they've also registered another strong field, specifically in the men's doubles category. So they've taken up 3 of the 8 seeded positions. We've got world number 1 Fajar Alfian and Muhammad Rian Adianto going into this as top seeds. Do you expect the duo to bring home their 3rd title of the year here?
If you look at this Indonesian pair, I think the venue would not really matter much to them. They're still performing relatively well in the various countries, in the various competitions. So I believe they will adjust accordingly and still be able to, I'm not sure if they'll get champion, but definitely proceed far in this competition.
So I think this is going to be an exciting one that we can look forward to as we watch the tournament. And meanwhile, in the women's singles, Carolina Marin, she will be back in action after pulling out from the All England Open due to an illness. She had an amazing start to the year. Coming back into this, do you think that she'll be able to go deep here, especially since she does have a home advantage?
Yeah, I do hope that Marin can come back and start winning some titles. Even though she fell ill at All England, I believe, like many players, illness, you can't escape illness. You just got to recover from it and get back to training and start performing again at that level. Yeah, so let's see. She definitely has a chance at winning the championships in Spain, so yeah, sure, all the best.
I think all her fans out there will be definitely rooting for her as well. They're excited to see her back in action. It's also going to be interesting to see how Anders Antonsen can keep up his recent form in the men's singles category. He is seeded 4th in this tournament, and after his run in Birmingham, is he one of your favorites going into this?
Yes, I would like to see Anders coming back up again. I mean, he always has been someone that I was looking out for to really perform well in this badminton. So if you really look at it, right, he and Xlosen's style of play doesn't really vary much. So what is it that he needs to work on to sort of reach Xlosen's level? He needs to start figuring it out and start to sort of come back up again. Yeah.
I think that's a pretty interesting point that you've highlighted there, and I think Antonsen is definitely somebody to look out for in the future. Now, for all of you guys at home, don't forget to tune in to all the action in the Madrid Spain Masters happening this week. And as Derek mentioned, there's going to be a lot of exciting players to look out for. Now, if you can't catch the matches live, don't worry. You can catch all the latest news, match updates, and statistics through the BWF app, Badminton for You. As always, don't forget to leave your comments and questions on the BWF Facebook and YouTube page. And again, thank you so much, Derek, for joining us on today's show. Hopefully we'll be able to have you back again soon.
Yes, thank you so much, and hope to be back again.
Thank you to all of you at home, and I'll see you same time, same place next week.